Welcome to Talk Cancer to Me. Side effects of this podcast may include chemo brain, what we equate to the human version of glitching, inappropriately oversharing, unprofessional lounging, and profanity.
Welcome back to Talk Cancer to Me, a podcast created by three friends with the same rare cancer diagnosis. In today's episode, we're looking back at the early days of our diagnosis, the confusion, the fear, and some things that maybe we wish we had known from the start. We talk about what it's like to be thrown into learning to navigate for yourself in a broken medical system, how structural issues in healthcare impact real people, and the ever-evolving journey of finding our voices in a system built for profit. Okay, so I think we all had kind of crazy stories about like getting diagnosed and the process of getting diagnosed, but what was the first thing your doctor said to you after your diagnosis?
I was in the ER and, obviously they said that, it could be a tumor, malignant tumor of the adrenal gland. I remember the doctor coming in to talk to me about it, and she was like, "There's literally, like, no way that this is cancer, like, it's so super rare." And she was like, "You're young and you're healthy, and, like, it's like, the chance" oh, she said this, she was like, "You'd the chances that you would win the lottery twice are higher than this being cancer." So I like went into, and they admitted me obviously because they were going to biopsy it, but I like went into my admission like a little bit more calm, thinking like, all right, like it can't be, like this literally can't be. So yeah, that was first thing the doctor said to me after.
Yeah, I definitely got the young and healthy comment when I went into the hospital. And then I think it was pretty similar. It was the doctor was just like, they didn't say that exactly, but they were like, it could just be a benign tumor. And when I looked it up later, because we all like go into the Google tailspin. Oh, sorry, pain. It said because of the size, it was like more likely to be cancerous than it was to be benign. But I think again, it was just assumed like it was throughout my entire hospital thing. It was like you're young and healthy, the chances are so small that it's cancer. So something along those lines. I was on a shit ton of drugs, so I don't really remember.
Mm. Well, mine was different because when they found it, they thought it was a pheochromocytoma. So I in the process of like when I was getting a scan, I also went back to my primary physician and she felt my stomach and she was like, "Why are they doing a scan? There's no way you have a tumor." Like, and there'd be even less of a chance that it's anything serious. And I was like, "Okay." So then after we found out there was a tumor, I went back to her and I brought my mom to the appointment and the doctor did apologize, which like I do think it takes a lot for doctors to like give like a formal apology, and she did give a formal apology, which I was grateful for. But yeah, like I thought it was a pheochromocytoma up until I had a consultation with the Mayo Clinic. And when I found that out, it was with Irina Bankos. Honestly, she was so graceful in talking to me about ACC that I was pretty calm through that. I mean, like, it was a scary thing, but I was just really happy because I was like, finally, like, someone knows what they're doing here. Um, but yeah, I think like the way that you find out really can like dictate what happens from there. And I was just really grateful that I had her to tell me about like the cancer side of it.
And I feel like your story is kind of different than ours because you had such a buildup of symptoms. So there must have been like some part that was a little relieving to not to have cancer, but just to know what was going on with your body.
Oh yeah, like I don't know, like I hear stories of people who like black out when they hear they have cancer, but for me, I was like, oh my God, like she knows what it is. Like it's not a guessing game anymore. Like she knows and there's a plan. Cause she did tell me about mitotane, which again is the preferred systemic treatment for us. She told me that if there was a possibility that I could do EDP, and she also told me about radiation. And so she did educate me about like what the potential options would be after surgery. She also told me it would be an open surgery and all of that. So like I went into all of that very prepared. But it was a lot of information to get at once. And I was like, "Oh, what?" Because I didn't know anything about cancer.
Yeah, I mean, where I first was diagnosed, they had no information. Like, I
Mhm.
just laid there for, like, I think it was, like, 4 days, and they were, like, scheduling me for a biopsy, but, like, no one there knew anything about, ACC, so but once I went to Hopkins, that's when I got, um, like, the information I needed.
Well,
Also, Mel, I was gonna ask you, so the doctor who apologized, was that your, like, PCP
it
or
was a
your
primary care, yeah, PCP.
Yeah, yeah, that like, literally, I my PCP at the time that I was going the year that I was going through this, like, I hate even driving by her office because I wanna go in and smack her because, like, the last visit I had I also have really severe anxiety, so, like and doctors often try to, like, dismiss things like, "Oh, this is your anxiety," and she did that all the time, but, like, the last visit that I had before I went to the ER, I remember, like, her looking me in my eyes because I was like, "Could this be some sort of cancer?" And she was like, "No." She was like, "This is not cancer. Like, this is your anxiety speaking, and you need to just relax and just basically take the drugs I've given you."
Mhm.
Yeah, if I ever see her, it's on.
Yeah, I mean, I full disclosure, so I had Cushing's syndrome, which you all know, and that was, like, the reason I was going to the doctor, and I had, like, a round face and a distended tummy, and at the time, I had just finished training for a triathlon, and, like, I have a history of eating disorders from when I was literally a teenager, and she just kept saying, like, "Oh, you're just gaining weight." Like it's in your head kind of I was like, "No, like, it's literally weight in my face and my stomach. It's not, like, generalized weight gain, it's, like, very specific weight gain. I don't look like myself." Like and it happened pretty much overnight, like, that's not body dysmorphia. That's, like, there's a problem here. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I know exactly, like, that feeling you're talking about. I think, unfortunately, that does happen to women, especially young women, very
yeah,
often. I mean, I've heard tons of stories like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
Huh,
get that it's not expected that we're gonna sorry, that we're gonna have, like, a medical problem. Like, no one expects it, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't check it out. I mean, I just think of what would have happened if they believed me earlier on when I came in. I think I went in, like, a year before I was diagnosed with all these problems. Like, I have it on a text somewhere where I was writing to someone that I thought something was really wrong with me, and, um, I've gone in if they had just checked me out a little more, like, done I don't know. I don't know what the protocol is for, like, doing scans, but if someone's having chronic issues for a long time, it's like if you had maybe explored, instead of just writing me off as young and healthy, like, I hope that I'm young and healthy. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't check it out and make sure.
Yeah.
yeah. I actually also went to an endocrinologist. And that's like it kinda sucks because we were, like, almost there, and that was, I think, 6 months before diagnosis, but we were, like, sort of heading in the right direction because I was having, like, super high, heart rate and all this stuff, and then, like, my whatever TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone or whatever, was off, so they were like, "Oh, we think that you have, like, a thyroid issue." So I feel like that doctor sort of dropped the ball too because we could have actually, like, investigated, like, the hormones in general instead of just, like, what was apparent, like, on one of those basic scans. We could have, like, probably nailed it a lot sooner.
Yeah.
That's true also because I would think that all of our, like, cortisol would have been off too, like, if they had run
Yeah,
those blood tests, not even a CT scan.
Right.
right.
Mine definitely was, and that was upsetting to me is, like, I had a cardiologist because I had recently found out I had a congenital heart condition. So I was seeing him, he knew that I was a plant-based athlete at the time, and when I went to see him because of, like, all the swelling, he said, "Are you sure you're not eating too much salt?" And I was, like, eating literally, like, fruits and veggies at the time and, like, tofu. Like, I was eating super clean, and I was so offended and just, like, upset because he didn't look further into it, and, like, my I wasn't responding to blood pressure medication, and one thing that upsets me so much now is, I've posted TikToks about, like, all of my symptoms, and, like, a lot of medical professionals will comment and say, like, if your blood pressure is not responding to medication, the number one thing you're supposed to do is check adrenal glands. So, like,
Wow.
we could have saved me. I mean, I already had Cushing, so my tumor was likely already active, likely already pretty big, but I always wonder if, like, we maybe could have saved, like, my vena cava, because my vena cava had to be cut and fused back together because the tumor at that time grew around it, and I just wonder if, like, we had gotten to it before that, like, the surgery could have been a lot less intense.
Yeah.
So,
That's wow. I didn't even like, I don't even know if doctors realize that thing about the blood pressure you just said, because my blood pressure was insane, and I was on 4 blood pressure medications by the time I went into surgery because they could not control it. So, like, wow.
yeah, which is so interesting knowing what I know now, and it's like the adrenal glands are responsible for controlling blood pressure, so if you're not responding to a medication, rather than put you on another medication,
Yeah.
like, why aren't we addressing the root cause? It's wild to me.
I
Mhm.
feel like that's what they do, like, doctors, that's what they do. They just, like, put Band-Aids on it, you know what I mean? Instead of, like, really digging deep. Not all, but
Yeah, I
it's
Yeah.
was
fair.
gonna say depending on the doctor, but
Yeah.
it's yeah,
It's just kinda
common.
common, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not all, for sure.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you both, so how did you get to your specialist? Because, like, you both said when you were first diagnosed, like, you didn't get any resources or, like, know anything about ACC. So what was your path to finding that information?
Well, I think Hope and I connected before we saw a specialist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think then we
Oh.
ended up going, like, back to back to see people.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
connected through Facebook groups.
Yeah. We connected on the Facebook group.
What prompted you all to look on Facebook? Because I didn't. Like, mine was just I thought mine was a pheochromocytoma. I Googled. I found out the Mayo Clinic had a really good endocrinology program, and that's what led me in that direction. Luckily, they also knew about ACC. So it ended up being a good path for me, but I never thought to look on Facebook for groups.
Well, I after I had surgery is when I knew it was ACC. So they had taken it out, and I think the pathology, like, came back really quick on the tissue testing of the tumor. And they were, like, pretty suspicious. I had really good surgeons at UCSF, and they were kind of like, the chances of this being ACC are really high because of the size, because of where it is. So they kind of already knew,
Okay.
but I think after surgery is when I was like the pathology came back and I was like, "Yeah, that's what it is." And so I went on Facebook because there was, like, no information except online where it's you know what it is online, it's really hard to read. So
Yeah.
I was trying to talk to real people, and then I met Hope really quickly after that.
Yeah, so I actually, found the Facebook groups through my surgeon.
Hmm.
She's the one that gave us the surveys and asked us to, reach out to the community. So they do, like, some, like, level of research for ACC, and she is she's chief of, like, oncology, but she has a specialty in, like, endocrine stuff, so she's, like,
Oh,
kind of connected a little bit. So, yeah, she, did the sur like, she I found her, she accepted me as a patient, and then, like, in our conversation, she's like, "There's Facebook groups out there that are, like, really helpful." Go there.
okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, so I didn't find out about that until, like, returning home and starting my treatment, and then my endocrinologist told me about not even about the Facebook groups, but specifically about Emerald, who was, like, one of the patients that was very involved with the Facebook groups. And but
yeah,
Emerald was, like, so well known in the community because she did so much
mhm.
to raise awareness and raise money for research, and so, like, my endocrinologist knew that she'd be comfortable, like, sharing her name, so
I think that's amazing when doctors try to help us connect the dots with each other.
I think that's so important for rare cancers, especially, like, because it did make a difference for me, like, it took me a little bit of time to, like, actually reach out to Emerald, but when I did, obviously, I was so grateful because, like, that's the reason I know you all too,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that's one thing I really appreciated at Michigan because I forget who it was, but someone connected me with an ACC patient there who was, like, the first woman that I ever talked to, and I'm still friends with her, so I really appreciated that because yeah, talking to a real person going through the real things is so different than
Yeah.
reading the statistics or
Yeah, and even online, like you said, if you Google, there's not really anywhere that says, like, these are the specialists. Like, you learn that from
no.
patients.
Yeah, that's true.
Literally online is awful, and I feel like like, with all the groups and everything raising awareness is getting better, but I literally remember someone sending me this woman on YouTube, and it was, like, very outdated, and she was talking about how horrific mitotane was and said that she had to wear, like, Depends, and I was, like, freaking out because I was like, "Wow," like, I was so scared to start. And
Mhm.
I was like, "I don't wanna take that." Like, I don't you know what I mean? So it's yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah,
It
and
was awful.
I at the like, one of the things I did was went on TikTok. I don't know why, because I wasn't even, like, a big TikTok user at the time, but I just searched for adrenal cancer, but everything I found was, like, in memorial of and, like, people's journeys, and, like, that's when once I started doing better, that's when I was like, "I need to post on here because, like, if somebody else searches, I don't want people to just only find that." And
Yeah,
not to say, like I mean, please keep doing that. I think, like, remembering
yeah,
people we've lost is so important, but, like, when those are the only stories that you're seeing as a patient, it's terrifying.
yeah,
So
agree.
so after you got your diagnosis, like, what did the doctor say to you after that?
Well, um, my pathology report came about a month and a half later after surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it took forever, and I am like I said, my baseline anxiety is like a 10 out of 10, probably 11 out of 10, so I think that truthfully, I think my dad and my, like, surgeon were trying to, like, keep it kinda like they weren't nobody lied to me, but they were just trying to, like, hold on to hope because, like, me waiting that long and having no it wouldn't have been good. And I don't I like, I'm glad they did, but I remember getting the call. I was, like, home alone, sitting on the bed, and my surgeon like, blew her up every day for the whole month and a half, like, "Is it the And she was just like, as we suspected, it's ACC. And she was just like, I'm really sorry, but she tried to like, remind me that like it when it was early stages and like that there are options and things like that. But yeah, I just was screaming. So I don't really remember much else that she said. Um, but yeah, that was mine.
I don't yeah, I also don't really remember. It's interesting looking back because what felt like the biggest deal at the time was the surgery, and I was so afraid I was gonna die during surgery that I wasn't really, like, putting it together that I might have cancer. I was actually just so hyper focused on the surgery itself and, like, I guess the first surgical consult I had, they had let me know that they might have to take other organs,
Mhm.
um, and, like, not get clear margins, but I didn't absorb that, like, I wasn't absorbing information, so I would have these calls, my parents would be on them, and then afterwards, I would be like, "Oh, well, it's not, like, too bad, sounds like it'll be okay, and I'm not gonna lose any other organs," and my mom was like, "No, they're, like, gonna take your kidney and part of this and part of this and part of your colon," and I was like, "What the fuck?" And she was like, "Were you not just on that call?" And I don't know what it was, but I couldn't process it at all. But,
Mhm.
yeah, the only thing I was thinking about was just, like, am I gonna survive surgery? I think I've only ever really had, like, a tonsillectomy or, like, wisdom teeth, so I hadn't really gone under that much, and, um, that was just terrifying to me, so actually when I came out of it, like, I was just so happy to be awake that I didn't really it took a while for it to set in that, like, I had cancer and I had to do proactive things about it. Because at the time, I was just like, "Oh, I'm alive, like, I made it." That was all that
For me, I had similar experience to you, Olivia. So I met with the surgeon who ended up being my surgeon. I did a consultation with him and one other on the phone. And when I met with my surgeon, he was the one who told me it was wrapped around my vena cava. I didn't know anything about that, but I had done a PET scan earlier that day and sent it to him. And he got on the Zoom and was, like, really serious, and he's like, "We need to get this out now, like, it's wrapped around, we need to have a vascular surgeon in there, we need like, we need all these people in the room, and, like, the Mayo Clinic can handle that, obviously," and he was like, "I have the resources here," and when I heard that it was wrapped around a vein, I just blanked, like, I don't know what happened, I just like, in movies and you see those scenes and, like, when people all they hear is, like, a buzz and, like, everything's blurry, that's how it felt to me, and I was just shocked by that, and I had never had surgery before and never been under anesthesia other than wisdom teeth, and so I was also scared of surgery. Like, that's all I could like, I knew chances were that it was cancer, but I was like, "I can't focus on this and that, or I'm just gonna give up because that's too much for me to even think about." So, let me focus on surgery, and, like, I went to a hypnotherapist who, like, literally helped me, like, manage my fear just to, like, be able to walk into the hospital on surgery day, and luckily, like, when surgery day came, I was very ready, I felt, like, very ready to get it out, and, like, I got to meet my surgeon in person the night before surgery, and, like, I felt really comfortable with him. I also did a Zoom call with the vascular surgeon who was, like, so kind to I was just crying. I was like, "I don't know how to handle this." And I was like, "I just have to be honest with you, I'm so scared, and I also don't wanna hear all the details of what you're gonna do because it really freaks me out." But I think what I learned in that process and, like, something that has really helped my brain is, like, something like surgery that is so scary to me is literally what these people have trained their entire life for, and, like, they love it. Like, this is what they love to do. So, like, for me, it's scary. For them, they're like, "I got this." And that's basically what the vascular surgeon said. He was like, "Listen, like, I know this is a rare situation and you feel very scared because it's never happened to you before and maybe you don't know anybody, but I do this every day. Like, I operate on veins every day. So you're not special." And, like, it made me laugh, but it also, like, did help me a lot understand that, like, he's a professional and he's gonna, like, take care of this and it's gonna be okay. And so same as you, Olivia, when I woke up from surgery, I was just like so happy I survived it. And I also did wake up still intubated because my surgery was so long that my lungs weren't breathing on their own yet. So it was a really exhausting night that I had at one point. Like, the ER or the ICU nurses had to, like, pull me awake because my blood pressure dropped too low, so they, like, pulled me awake to, like, get me up and get my heartbeat start going in, and they were like, "Oh my god, we thought we were gonna lose you," and I'm, like, still intubated, so I couldn't talk,
Oh my
and I
god.
felt obviously, when you're still intubated, it feels like you're choking, so I just kept using sign language and saying, "Choking," and they were like, "You're not choking, like, it just feels like that, but you're not," and I was like, "Okay," so finally, once we got that out and I was able to talk, like, I was like, "Okay, that's behind me." I got my pathology 5 days later, and again, it was Dr. Bankos that gave me, like, the official report. Since my tumor was so large, like, we thought it was gonna be a very aggressive situation, and for ACC, we have different, like, how do we say this? Like the KI-67 index. It's like a different rating for like what grade the tumor is. So they were expecting mine to be a very high grade, but it ended up being a medium grade. So when I walked in to get the results, first of all, they were like, "You're walking? Like, most of our patients are not walking after open surgery." And I was like, "Guys, I'm a triathlete. I told you, like, push me, please." Like, I went to the grocery store. I went for a walk outside with my dad. Like, I was like, "I can be pushed." And so, yeah, they told me it was actually a medium grade. They talked about all the treatment options again. And then I also said, "Well, like, what can I do? Like, what can I do other than the treatment options? Because, like, I am very into, like, the holistic options too. So what can I do in my daily life?" And Dr. Banko said there's 3 things she sees in patients who do well. They eat well, they meditate, and they exercise. And I was like, and that doesn't have to be like you're not running marathons. It just means like, go for a walk, like get outside, go for a walk, ride your indoor bike, like do what you can." And I was doing all those things already. So she was like, "You're on a really good path to like do very well." and we're gonna hope it never comes back. It did come back, but, like, I just think she was so graceful in that, and, like, because I think when you're in that moment of getting a diagnosis, you feel so helpless and you feel so out of control, like your body's just turned on you. And so for me, it was really helpful to get, like, 3 tangible things that I could do. Like, do those things make the difference? I don't know. Is it placebo effect? Maybe. Maybe it's thinking that if I do these things, it will help, but that's what I told myself. So,
Yeah, you're like, "Give me some action items."
yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I feel like we all wanna feel like we can control some part of this really uncontrollable journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like whatever that thing is for you, I think it's important to have something that makes you feel like you have a little bit of control of it, like something that makes you feel happy or like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, like, I'm sort of a low-key control freak, so, like, yeah, it was very important for me. Like, I was vegan for the first 6 months, and then I just couldn't handle it because I literally needed, like, pepperoni pizza to keep the mitotane down.
Yeah.
But, like, now I do, like, a keto diet, and I don't know if it works or not, but, like, I've just read about it and what ketosis does to your body, so I'm like, "Alright, well, I feel like I can do this to help."
Yeah, I've been struggling with figuring out diet too, because there's just so many different recommended ones, like, some
Yeah.
people say vegan, some people say keto. When I called my insurance and talked to a dietitian right after I was diagnosed, 'cause on the same wavelength, was trying to, like, take control of one element, which was diet, the nutritionist was like, "Just drink a lot of milk, eat a lot of red meat," and, like, that was it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's not a lot of resources depending, I guess, where you are, but at least for me, my
Yeah.
insurance.
I was lucky to be at Mayo Clinic because they let me meet with a dietitian because I was vegan at the time, and they wanted to make sure, like, I was getting proper nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can tell you so that nutritionist was focused on cancer, and she was just, like, a general nutritionist, so she's not gonna, like, recommend one diet over another, but the thing that she did say that stuck with me was with cancer patients, they do recommend 12 to 15 servings of veggies a day, and that's just because of, like, the nutrients and vitamins in veggies. It's very cleansing for your body. So I think no matter what diet you follow, like, getting a lot of veggies in is really important.
When I met with Dr. Foho, it's funny that you're you did triathlons and stuff because Dr. Foho actually that was when I was vegan and I was like all like, I've been reading this book and these are I'm gonna, and he told me like there is no magic diet, you know what I'm saying? He's like, just make sure that you're getting enough protein, like that's your body. And he told me, like, I said, well, what can I do? And he's like, train as if you're literally preparing for a marathon. Like, get your body ready for surgery again. That was his big thing. It was, like, not so much diet, but, like, preparing my body for, like, a return.
Yeah, and protein is what helps your body heal. So, like, regardless of your source of protein, that is super important, like, after
Yeah,
surgery and everything too. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
I
Yeah.
had this is, like, one of the only kind of things that I do remember, but I think it was around the time that I was, like, when they originally found the tumor, but I moved back into my parents' and, like, they have this really big, beautiful backyard, that's right on a creek, and this giant buck, like, started sleeping, like, right at the, like, outskirts of their yard from right when that started until, like, significantly after surgery until I was okay every single day. And so
Oh,
we have, like, this collection of photos, and I know you haven't seen Harry Potter, Hope, but my mom called it my Patronus, which is, like, the protection spell, sort of. That memory stands out, I guess, because this buck just, like, returned every day and, like, basically was there every day that I needed support, kind of. And then
aw.
he ended up,
That's
like, leaving after I
wonderful.
was able to move. It was very, um, eerie in a good way. Couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I don't know this about you guys. Did either of you ever have anything denied by insurance
No.
that you had to fight for?
Well, my first referral, so I had gone to also, sorry if I'm wincing, it's like deep breaths hurt. My insurance company, my doctor, were they found the tumor, but then went to, like, Oakland Hospital, to meet with a surgeon, and that surgeon I forget what number she quoted that she did these surgeries on ACC patients yearly, but it was, like, some really high number.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, later, I was like, "That literally makes no sense if it's a 1 in a million cancer that you would do, like, 30 or 40 of these a year." So she straight up lied to my mom because she wanted to do the surgery. And I think also because my insurance company, Kaiser, like, they don't want to pay extra money, they don't wanna refer you out anywhere, so they try to get everything done within their, like,
Yeah.
bracket. Um, so that was, like, a huge pain in the ass just getting me to UCSF, which is, like, where there were surgeons that had actually seen ACC and dealt with it before. But I think once my mom realized and, like, called the doctor on her bullshit, she just, like, sent my mom an email, didn't even call her, and was like, "Here's your referral." Because I think she realized that we, like, figured it out that she was lying. Um, but also when I was in the hospital after surgery, I went back to the hospital a couple days later, and I spent, like, 3 nights there. I couldn't keep anything down, I was just, like, constantly throwing up, and we had heard from someone to ask for Amend, which is a nausea medicine, but
Mhm.
they wouldn't give it to me. They were like, "No, it's too expensive, like, let's try everything else." So it was just like they ran through one after the other of nausea meds, nothing was working. On the 3rd day, they gave me the Amend finally, 'cause also my mom is, like, a firecracker and just, like, kept pushing them, but they finally gave it to me. It stopped my nausea, it stopped my vomiting, but, like, it took 3 days to get my insurance to be like, "Sure, we'll give you this med," 'cause it's expensive and they don't wanna, like, fork over anything. It's a profit over
Right.
people system,
Mhm.
I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my first scan was denied, and the allergist that ordered it, like, knew something was going on in this general region. So she actually had to call insurance and do a peer-to-peer review, so that did delay me getting a scan, by a couple of days. Luckily, after they spoke with her, they did approve it, but, yeah, it did delay me getting the scan by several days. After that, I mean, I have a PPO plan, so, like, it's pretty flexible, like, I don't have to get referred to specialists, I can just go. So I haven't had too many issues, just some basic issues with medications because I don't respond to a lot of, like, the normal prescriptions, so I have, like, a specific brand that I need both for my, I have Hashimoto's, so I need it for that, and then I also have a specific brand that I need for stomach ulcers, and both of those I'm paying out of pocket because they're not crazy expensive, but, like, my insurance won't cover them, and I've called them and tried to fight it, and, like, I don't understand what the problem is because 'cause I'm like, there's documented data that I didn't respond to, like, the other medications, but they're still not paying for it. And, like, it adds up, you know? My thyroid medication is, like, usually 80 or 90 a month, and my, other one is, like, 50 a month. So you're talking, like, 150 a month, like, that adds up.
Yeah.
And then not to mention, I mean, the one thing that frustrates me so much, sorry, I'm getting, like, really heated over here, is, like, we see specialists, which means they're not in our state. We have to travel to see them because of laws, like, we can't see them over Zoom. So, we're paying for our travel. And I think that needs to be revisited by insurance because I sure as hell do not want to have to be traveling. Like, I wish that they could consult over Zoom, of course. And if we do have to go in person, I wish there was some type of something to cover, like your plane, whether that be like, here, we'll give you a stipend. Yeah, like $150 stipend for your travel to get there.
Yeah.
Um, I
But
just,
I will say, as a resource, you can call corporate angels,
yeah,
but I don't think it's not like you're guaranteed a flight, so
right.
it's like, maybe you'll get
Yeah.
to go on a corporate
Yeah,
jet
there's
and
great resources about stuff too, but I don't know. I just feel like that's like another fucking thing we have to do
yeah, that's true.
again, and, like, we have to explain everything again, and
And if someone just gave you the money, you could just buy the flight and
yeah.
get it over with, you don't have to jump through all the hoops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think, like, that's the part that is so exhausting is, like, yeah, there's resources, and that means, like, you're making the phone calls, you're explaining everything again, like, how many fucking times a day I have to say, like, "I'm experiencing cancer," like, I don't even like to say that because I don't like to, like, put that idea back into my head again and again and again, and it's like, so challenging to have to, like,
Yeah.
constantly do that just to, like, get the shit I need done. Has there been a time where you felt completely let down by the system? Like, maybe the biggest time, because it seems like we've all been let down by
Yeah,
the
I was gonna say
system.
all the time, no. Yeah, I feel like everything I already said, so, like, having to push to get to a specialist, like, the original surgeon in Oakland that misquoted or lied, also was gonna do a laparoscopic surgery. She was like, "This is 100% the way." Obviously, like, we know with our cancer, that's not something that you should do because of risk of rupture. Like, for me, I feel betrayed by that situation because 'cause I'm like, if I had ended up with you, if you had done this laparoscopically, you just, like, risked so much harm for me, and you were so unwilling to. And this goes into, like, what I think a good doctor is, which to me is someone that knows when they can't answer a question or handle something, and they know to, like, seek, an expert's advice or someone who just, like, is more specialized in whatever disease, um, and when someone's ego gets in the way, that's really a dangerous doctor. Although, like, you want an egotistical doctor to some degree
You want
because
a
you want to be
confident
confident.
doctor.
Yeah. But, like, clearly she was willing to risk my life to, like, have to be the one to give me that surgery, and I don't know if that was because of money or, like, ego or what, but the fact that we had to push so hard to go to UCSF was just probably the biggest letdown of the system, and then there's just been so many that have followed, so, yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest one for me has just been, like, I don't know, people not listening and not trusting me. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, you know your body the best. And like, I was complaining about back pain for weeks, and it took so long for somebody to order an MRI, and like they found cancer all over my spine. And then the same thing happened with my ulcers. I was complaining about projectile vomiting for 8 months until they did an endoscopy and a colonoscopy, and they found um, one ulcer in my tummy on the endoscopy, and then they ended up finding a second one later, and they were and I also didn't respond to Prilosec. So, it was, like, just a journey to, like, get that treated, and in that time, I, like, couldn't eat. I wasn't getting proper nutrients at all. I could barely drink water without it hurting, and I I don't know if that's a doctor not listening or like an insurance thing where they're like, "Well, insurance isn't gonna cover it." Like, I don't know what the magic words are that I needed to say for them to be like, "Okay, endoscopy," or like, "Okay, we'll do the MRI to check your back." But like, I don't understand why it took so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like, I've actually been really, really fortunate, and I actually don't take it for granted that pretty much everybody I've come in contact with has been I feel like they've had my back in my journey, doctor-wise, or, but I remember, like, my first endocrinologist, like, being very having a ego out of this world and saying, like, "Oh, I've treated so many ACC patients," and, like, prescribing, like, an insane amount of Mitotane right away, and, like, I was like, "Yeah, but, like, in my group, people start off at, like, 1 or 2 tablets," and this individual was like, "Well, I treat all the ACC patients here," and I'm like, "Dude, it can't be that many, unfortunately, like, sorry, but the jig is up, bud, because I know how, common or not common this cancer is," but yeah, I was kinda let down by him because his attitude was nasty, and, like, like, I had done my research, and so, yeah, like, I actually fired him immediately and went on elsewhere, but, shout out to Shannon for sharing me her, endocrinologist information, rest in peace, but yeah, like, I have an amazing endo now, but, like, yeah, like, I felt like first of all, because had I not had the information from other ACC patients in the group, I would have probably ended up in an adrenal crisis, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would have been fucked up, and so, yeah, I'm glad that I had the support of, like, our community and, like, the information that I have, but I would have went in, like, 8 pills strong. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the way to do it, so
And then
that
you
was
would have been so scared of Mitotane probably. Like, you would have been
exactly.
so scared of it.
Yeah, yeah, and the right. I mean, it's a toxic drug, but, like, slowly, gradually getting, figuring out where your body's, like, spot is with the drug is really key, and, like, just going in like that would have been a horrific experience.
Do you feel like young adults are treated differently by providers?
1000%.
Yeah, yeah. I remember my stepmom and dad telling me, like, "You can't wear that, and, we need them to take you seriously, like, don't wear that tight legging set, like, you need to put on" like, I'm not going in a flipping suit, dude, like, a three-piece suit? No thanks, like, I'm just gonna be me, but, like, I think yeah, absolutely, 100%, again, like, I have had really good doctors who I feel like didn't judge me, but I do know that that's a real thing, yeah. For sure.
I do think, yeah, like we've talked about so much, it's implied with aging that illness is more common. So I think young adults just um kind of low key get gaslit all the time when
Yeah,
you're like something is wrong. It's just like, no, you're fine, like it'll pass. And I think that's why a lot of us get diagnosed later because it takes going in a lot. And like no one wants to go to the hospital or the doctor constantly and be like, I'm in pain, something's wrong. Like, you just don't wanna do that, it sucks. So, a lot of people, I think, don't get taken seriously and aren't persistently going back because 'cause they're also believing it. At least for me, I'm like, someone if a doctor's like, "Oh, you're probably fine," then I'm like, "Oh, I'm probably fine because I wanna probably be fine."
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like that outside of I definitely feel like that outside of, like, the ACC, we're all obviously in the process of getting diagnosed. I felt like I was not taken seriously at all. But I will say, since diagnosis, like, I I like, my background is project management, so I've always treated this like a project manager, and, like, early on, like, I had a binder with, like, all my blood work, like and then I would come into appointments with, like, my list of questions and, like, "These are what I wanna ask," and, like, there were times where I would be so upset or whatever that I'd be crying and, like, I'd end up getting high and, like, forget all about the binder and the questions, but I think for the most part, like, I do think those things make a difference because I do think doctors are, like and I've noticed it especially, like, when I say, like, I help start this nonprofit, I'm really involved, like, I'm very involved in the community, like, I know what people are saying, so, like, don't try to pull one on me. Like, I find that they all take me very seriously. And that goes even, like, I was at the psychiatrist yesterday, and he was saying, like, he was so impressed that I'm involved with the nonprofit, and he was looking at our website and, like, the things that we've done, and so, like, I think like, I look young, so, like, I've even been in the infusion center, and a nurse came up to me and asked, if I was old enough to be there alone, and I was like, "Oh, I'm getting treatment, actually, and also I'm 34." I was 34 at the time, and then I heard the other nurses being like, "That's Melinda, like, she's always here, like, let her go," because like, I enjoy going alone sometimes to my infusion, um, but, yeah, I do think there's definitely, like I notice a big difference when I'm hospitalized, especially, I think that's when it becomes hard to, like, advocate for myself, especially, like, if I'm not feeling well. I'm really lucky to have a mom who's, like, very much mama bear vibes and, like, will yell at everybody. But it's funny you both said that about your parents saying, like, "Don't dress like this," or whatever. Because my mom, her thing is, like, the sheets on the bed, even if you're in the hospital, they need to be changed every day because you're dirty, and, like, you need to be wiped down every day, and I'm like, "Literally, nobody cares if I'm showering here. Nobody cares. Like, I'll wait till I get home." And she's like, we're up. These sheets need to be changed. You're sweating. Like, ugh. But like, that is nice sometimes because it is nice to have the clean sheets. But yeah, my parents are very much the same of like look presentable and stuff. And I like roll up in PJs because I'm there all the time. Like,
yeah.
I want to be comfy. So, what do you wish doctors or hospitals understood about rare cancers?
Well, I think this is why, like, shopping for a oncologist is so important because I think obviously it depends on the cancer, but, like, my first oncologist, I feel like just looked at me like I had an expiration date, and that was really hard because I think she doesn't know that much, and, like, you're looking at such a small pool of data, especially as someone that's not an expert and is not receiving, like, the biggest influx of patients, like, that's happening at, like, NIH or MD or FOHO, um, so she had only seen it a handful of times, and I felt like she was really negative, and then I ended up switching from her to someone she had trained who's younger, and he's an amazing doctor, and I think part of it was I was super embarrassed at the time, but my mom printed, like, from the Facebook groups, a bunch of different survival stories and, like, treatment methods that worked for people, and, like, it was, like, 30 pages, that she printed and, like, bound and then dropped off at his office. And I feel like that made such a big impact because he emailed me and was like, "I went through every single one, I read it," like, he read all the different combinations of drugs and also just, like, got to see that the data that you see online is not reflective of the survival and hope stories that we're hearing from the actual people that are experiencing it. And so
Mhm.
I feel like in a cancer are so as rare as ours, it's like a doctor that doesn't know that much about it is kind of gonna be biased and think, more in line with the statistics, whereas, like, a doctor who, um, maybe gets to read stuff like that can see the bigger picture and that there's so much more to it and, like, so many of us that do have really hopeful and, like, really inspiring survival stories, and it kind of can change how they treat you, I think, and how they assess the situation.
Mhm.
Yeah. I wish that they understood that, like, we know that we're already rare, we know that, you know what I mean? But we don't ever wanna be made to feel like a science experiment or like, "Ooh, like, I got this cancer with this a patient with this rare cancer," you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to, like, school you, you know what I mean? Like, you find out I have this rare cancer, like, there's something called the World Wide Web, there are medical journals, like, go out if I'm your patient and you're taking me on as a patient, like, go do your own research because if I'm here for an issue, you know what I mean? I have my specialists that know about ACC, but if I'm here for like, I see an orthopedic doctor, like, he actually did a really great job. He's like, "Wow, like, that's I do know I've heard about the cancer, it's super rare," but he didn't ask me a bunch of questions, like, I'm not here for that, and if you're interested in learning, like, use your brain and go find out because 'cause I'm not here to educate you, um, for, like, this hip issue that I'm having, you know what I mean? Like, I don't always wanna feel like a science experiment every time I walk into some local doctor's office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dehumanizing, I think.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. Um, plus one to both of what you guys said. I have, like, a very specific scenario because it happens a lot. Um, I usually do try to educate a little bit, but I also will, like, send them, like, a resource. Like, I'll be like, "Here," like,
Yeah.
you know, there were a couple articles written about me, so I'll be like, "I'll send you an article because like, I'm tired. I'm not explaining all this.
Yeah, man.
Um, or, like, you can ask my oncologist if you have access, just, like, talk to him. You have access to my notes. But the one thing that really gets me going is when people, especially physicians, casually ask about prognosis. I do not think that is a casual conversation ever. I do
Yeah.
not and I don't like, it's kind of like a situation where I'm like, "Stay in your lane. I don't know why you're
Mhm.
bringing that up. I'm here." It happened the other day. "I'm here for COVID. We're not talking about my cancer prognosis." And you both know this. I'm very sensitive about talking about prognosis. It's something I only recently had the conversation with my current oncologist because I trust him to be very graceful with the delivery. I
Mhm.
know what the statistics say. I know what the studies say. So I know the general statistics. I do not appreciate somebody casually being like, "So have they given you a prognosis?" Like, it really throws off my whole day. It gets me really upset. Um, and I think that's true for most of us. The other one that I really hate that happens all the time to me is doctors saying, "Have you thought about buying a lottery ticket?" Like, it's not funny. And
What?
yes, I
Someone's
have
telling
thought
you?
about
What
it, and
the
I have
fuck,
tried, and I'm
dude?
not winning the damn lottery, I'm just getting fucking cancer, so, yeah,
Wow.
I've had
Cool.
multiple doctors say that, like, "Oh, have you tried, like, buying a lottery ticket? Because like, we're so like, 1
Wow.
in a million, like, your odds would be good at winning the lottery, but, like, this is a." I had a nurse one time say, "Don't say that to her," and I was like, "Thank God," like, because like, I don't wanna, like, pretend laugh anymore, it's not funny, and, like, it's annoying, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prognosis thing is so frustrating too. It's like I've had that conversation with my local too before I meet with any other doctors. I've asked him to talk to them because I've had people look at me like in that way that you just know that they're thinking about that or like that topic's going to come up. And so I've had him specifically have conversations with other doctors and be like, "Don't bring up her prognosis. She doesn't need to know." Because exactly what you said, we're very aware. Like we probably know more about this disease than a lot of the doctors that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Like, I don't I mean, I think most people with ACC know the general prognosis, and, whether or not you wanna know that, that's up to you, but I think hearing your personal diagnosis is it's
unless you ask for it.
literally wrong so many times, like, why would I wanna hear that? And I don't know. It's so frustrating.
It's okay to say, like, because this is so rare, like, I haven't treated it, but, as your local doctor, I'm willing to work with the specialist or whatever.
I was also thinking I love that this is a not totally in relation to the question, but I've told you both this, I think, where a woman came up to my dad and asked what my prognosis was, and that really bothered me because I feel like I can handle that. I don't really want my family to have to answer that question or even think about that. I don't wanna think about it either, but I loved his answer because he just looked at her and was like, "What's yours?" Because
I love
like,
it.
do any of us know when we're gonna die? No. So, like, don't put an expiration date on me. I haven't put one on myself. Why don't ask that question. Stupid.
Yeah. Shout out to dad. I like
Shout
that.
out to
What's
Taro.
the best advice you've ever gotten from another cancer patient?
Can brainstorm too.
Yeah, well, actually, I know what mine would be. So, when Emerald was still with us, um, I remember, like, I can't remember exactly what the situation was, but she was like, I was like, she said something about like resources or something for cancer. And I was like, yeah, but like, like I just want to speak positive. I don't like to keep bringing up my cancer. And she was like, girl, use that shit. Like we got dealt this shitty hand, right? Like you need to get like use, like if there's resources available, use that shit. So I never hesitate now to like let people know or share what I'm going through. And I remember like when I was at Disney World with the kids, Melinda, you were telling me about that pass thing. So we
Yeah.
didn't have to wait in line. The
Mhm.
kids thought that shit was the coolest thing ever. Like, and I was just like, wow, okay, I see now. Like, but I was like, how people were like, oh, speak positive, the power of the tongue. And it is real, right? We need to manifest positive things, but it doesn't change the reality that we're living in. And I feel like that's what she was trying to tell me. It's like, if there's resources available or things, right? Don't be afraid to like talk about it. It is your reality and you're living in it. And it's shitty enough, right? So if there's perks to this shit, then grab them, you know?
Think mine was I don't remember who said this or if it was even, like, directly to me. It might have just been on the Facebook groups, but I've been through so many chemos, like, I think I've lost count because when I said it before, it was not even the right number, but I've tried a lot, and I think what's been hard is, like, deciding and obviously, like, the different specialists having different opinions, and then I'm not a doctor, so, like, having to make that decision, like, hearing 2 different people say 2 different things, and you're like, "How the fuck am I supposed to decide that? I don't know." Um, but the comment was like, if there's no right decision, then there isn't a wrong decision, and I think that has helped me around treatment because, like we've talked about so many times for us, it's like the only approved treatment is Mitotane, and that didn't work for me, so it's like I didn't necessarily have a next right decision, so I've just kind of kept going, and I think that that's helped a lot. Just keep
I don't think that mine has been like a saying or anything. I think for me it's really been seeing other people's stories play out. That's been really I'm a very visual person, and, like, one of my favorite, musical artists, Andrew McMahon, got leukemia when he was 19, I believe, and he created a documentary from his perspective of that journey for him, and he got really sick in the hospital. He got pneumonia, and, like, it wasn't looking good. And in the documentary, you see everybody saying, like, "It's not looking good," and, like, he came back and, like, now he's 20 years cancer-free, and so, like, for me, it was really, like, hearing stories like that where, like, the odds were not in somebody's favor and they still came back because, like, I knew very early on, just, like, my case was really extreme and, like, the odds were not in my favor, and I was like, "Yeah, but, like, it's been done before, so, like, why not me?" And I guess, like, that's really what I held on to is, like, why not? Like, why can't I be a miracle? Why not?
Yep.
Because they happen every day. So,
Yeah, and I guess one more thought about that is also both of you have been that for me, so being able to text you and be freaking the fuck out and just, like, have you say something that kind of pulls me back in because we will spiral and spin out and, like, it's totally valid and it makes sense, but sometimes we just need someone to be like, "You're okay." Like, this morning, me texting and saying, "I have so much pain, like, I'm really worried," and then just the reminder of, like, you just had scans. So, like, you don't have an emergency, but you both understand that, like, any little, like, throb pain, tiny little thing, is terrifying. And just, like, having someone kind of pull you back in from your anxiety. And then also just seeing people living their lives still. So, like, Melinda being, going through what you did and being really low at one point and then doing ketamine therapy and, like, moving your whole life to LA and changing your whole life was really inspiring for me and, like, made me wanna try ketamine because I've been so low and, like, then that has really shifted my perspective on my life. So, like, I think just having each other because I think what we're going through is so hard, understatement of a century in that word, but, like, just having each other to talk to is, like, one of the most profound parts of my healing, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I
same for
second
me
all
too.
of that. I mean, a funny one would be, like, this powerhouse outfit, but I don't have any I don't, like
You don't have a powerhouse outfit?
no. Do you?
All of your outfits are kind of powerhouse
I
outfits.
know. I'm like, "Hope, what are you wearing right now? Like, this is a
You're
power."
like a Fashion Nova queen.
Seriously.
I think
Not really.
for me, even if I'm so it's like early on, like, I've just like, especially living in Florida, like, I am a proud queer woman and, like, I like it to be known, and I think, like, for me, especially being in Florida, because like, it's not always a safe place to be openly queer, but I knew if I was wearing stuff at the cancer hospital, like, I'm going through some shit, you're not gonna say anything to me, and I would, like,
Mhm.
literally show up in, like, rainbow pants. And it was, like, very clear when I was like, every time I would, and there was a man one time who was, like, on his phone in the bay next to me while I was getting chemo, and he was saying homophobic comments on the phone, and my dad was with me, and we were both kinda like, "How are the nurses not saying" like, "This is disruptive at this point, and, like, I can hear you, and I'm offended." And my dad stood up and was like, "Hey, you need to, like, pipe it down." That's my dad's, like, language. And the guy was like, "What's it's fine to be gay as long as you're not radically gay." And I'm like literally in like rainbow pants, a rainbow hat. And like, I was like, I think I am radically gay. And I was crying. And like, my dad gets upset when I cry. And so then my dad was like, you know what? You're not being very nice right now. And like, it was so funny. And I ended up filing a complaint with the hospital and they did end up saying things. They ended up like having a little training session on it, but like I don't know. For me, it's just something that like I always like to celebrate, and it's something unfortunately the cancer hospital like they decorate for all the time, but they wouldn't decorate for Pride, obviously because there are different opinions. And I think it's just nice that like to get to celebrate myself all the time.
Yeah.
Hence your shirts every episode.
Hence
Yeah.
my shirt. Yes. We hope this episode reaches someone who needs to hear it, to know that your voice is your power. Advocating for yourself in a system that makes it unnecessarily hard is exhausting. especially when your only job should be healing. But we want to remind you, trust your intuition, ask the hard questions, and don't back down. You deserve to be heard. If you'd like to reach out to us, or if you know of a medical or holistic practitioner that you think would be great for this show, please reach out to us at talkcancer2me@gmail.com. And that's with the number 2. Again, that's talkcancer2me@gmail.com.